Good morning, fellow paranormalers, and as you can probably see, we've got a fantastic day today. It's autumn, it's cold, but today we've got the sun shining brightly, and today was forecast cloudy. I just don't think they can get it right. Anyway, today's topic, which I've already touched on before, but I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about today. And only because I'm noticing it more and more and more in the paranormal world. And you know, again, I say paranormal as in it's a very generic word for you know, a large variety of subjects. But I'm not the only one that keeps mentioning this same topic, and it kind of drives me up the wall a little bit, because I just really hate it when people are being ripped off for something that they shouldn't really be ripped off about. What I'm actually talking about is people who make money or purposefully rip people off, you know, anything to do with the paranormal, as in spirit work, teaching, equipment, you know, all of these things I've picked up recently on forums and Twitter and people that I follow and things, you know, people that I follow on Twitter and YouTube. It's becoming an increasingly widespread thing about people charging for their services. Now, I'm going to kind of split this down. So, point number one, people who are creating investigations, like paranormal visits to sites. Okay, now absolutely somebody hit this on the head. If you are providing that service, don't sell it as being an investigation, because it isn't. It's entertainment. If you create a business or a service that you take money from people so that they can spend a night in a hotel or a castle or a building or a site or something like that, that is not a paranormal investigation. That is entertainment. You know, because it's going to attract a whole bunch of people that can go out and buy a few pieces of ghost hunting equipment, and then they want to go and be, you know, they want to pay their £40 or £50 or whatever it is. And I've seen some of these you know, visits to places costing an astronomical amount of money that you could go to yourself for free. I mean, you don't have to pay to go to these things. It's just somebody who's organised an event at a site, whether it is actually haunted or not. It's crazy. And someone actually, you know, I just love the wording that someone actually used was, if you're creating these events, then don't call it an investigation, a paranormal investigation. It isn't. And I absolutely agree. It's entertainment. Okay, that's number one. Number two, people who are charging for doing what I call a proper paranormal investigation at a site, you know, whether it's a pub, a hotel, someone's private house, property, you know, whatever that might be. I'm seeing this increasing now, where people are, you know, and there seems to be these groups that are actually charging people, if you like, for that service, which I just think is quite dishonourable, really. I don't like it, never have done. I've never charged for anything. I do it for free, and all of our team do exactly the same thing. It shouldn't be charged, but unfortunately people are. Something I've mentioned in another video is, this is I think 3, is people who are creating apps. Okay, and now I've already done a video about my feeling about apps for tablets and phones and stuff like that. I'm not a great fan, okay? They may work for people, and I've had them work for me, not a problem. You know, they do work. They work slightly different from a normal spirit box or a, you know, scanning radio, but they do work. What I'm seeing increasingly now, again, is people creating apps, and they would, you know, a couple of years ago, they were starting off at £1 or $1, you know, whatever. And now they've gone up, and they've gone up, and they've gone up, and the last one that I bought, it was actually a free upgrade anyway, but, you know, it's being sold on Google Apps for, I think, £12, okay? Which is kind of doable. I mean, it'd be better if it was like £10, but now we're seeing apps coming out that are $49.99, $29.99, and I'm just thinking, really? For an app? And all you're doing is just scanning radio stations? You know, I can't see that it's actually doing a huge amount when you can go out and spend a couple of pounds on something. I mean, to me, it's just easy money. I think this is, and of course, there's all the marketing and everything that goes with it. And, you know, people giving these demos and all that kind of stuff. But I just seeing what are we going to see now? The next app's going to be $100 or $99. It's just easy money for people in a field that there's a lot of people who are quite vulnerable, and they will just keep buying this stuff because that's what people do nowadays. They just buy it whether they really need it or use it. You know, crazy, absolutely crazy. This is on the increase. It isn't going to go away. Well, in fact, I don't think it will go away until people stop paying the money, and that's when it's going to go away. You know, I refuse to pay that kind of money for an app. I mean, you know, think about it. You could save up that money and buy a decent suite radio. You know, why bother with an app on you know, because you just know that you spend that $50 on an app, and then 6 months down the line, hey presto, they've brought out another one. You know, and it just goes on and on and on like this all the time. I just disagree with. Again, you know, these are just my own opinions, really. You know, people might like the apps. You know, I don't really care. If you want to spend your money on apps, then fine. You know, you get the results you want. It's all about the intention and what the outcome is you're trying to do. If you've got a PSB7 or a scanning radio of some sort and that works, then why do you need an app to do the same thing? I mean, it just seems a bit crazy. Anyway, okay, another thing, and I've touched this on, I've mentioned this before. My goodness, more and more and more people are going out and buying stuff from China. Okay, you know, like laser pens, like I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. You know, REM pods, and radios, and trigger devices, and all these things. And people are buying this stuff dirt cheap. And they're selling it on eBay or Amazon for astronomical amounts of money, and they just put the word paranormal or ghost in front of it, and then they can charge stupid amounts of money. Why? I mean, that to me just smacks of people wanting to make a quick buck. You know, they're just taking advantage of the fact that people are suckered into buying, you know, really cheaply produced items very expensively from someone who's just put the word ghost or paranormal in front of it. Again, you know, why, you know, it's horrible. I think it's really horrible. And there was a discussion recently on one of the forums that I saw where somebody had blatantly, and was known apparently for ripping people off, and blatantly had ripped off and promised some items to someone and gave some excuse that it got lost or it got accidentally sent to someone else or whatever, and they actually saw these items for sale on eBay, on their eBay channel, you know, on their eBay account, and I just think it's horrible, quite blatantly. But on the other hand, these same people are giving the impression that they're genuinely in the paranormal world, you know, doing investigations and such like, and it's like, you know, you think, wow, on the one hand you're ripping people off, and on the other hand you're trying to make out that you're sincere in what you're doing, and it just, you know, it doesn't sit right with me at all. It just rings alarm bells, that kind of thing. It has attracted, I think, a lot of people, and it's not just the paranormal world, okay, it's just about every industry. You know, I was involved quite heavily in the IT industry many years ago, and still am, and it was the same scenario. And what's happened to the IT industry now? You know, years ago, when it first started, yes, it was expensive because the research and development was being done. And then all of a sudden the prices dropped. And we're talking a long time, decades ago, okay? And then the prices dropped. And then all of a sudden, a whole bunch of people thought, oh, hang on a minute, we can make a bucket load of money here. And I did say bucket. And then there was a period of time where computer equipment and resources and stuff like that was costing a vast amount of money. People were charging astronomical amounts of money for doing very little. And because I was self-employed and I like to treat my customers with fairness and everything, they couldn't really understand. People couldn't understand why I was, one, so cheap, you know, cheaper than everyone else, and why I could get hardware at very reasonable prices. And that's what was happening. And then, of course, that continued on for quite a long time. Then it sort of, the industry leveled out about 15 years ago, mainly because people realised they were being seriously ripped off. And now, look at what's happened. All the little IT shops and independent retailers and such like have gone bust, because people, I think, personally, not only has computer equipment become so much cheaper now, because it's easy to produce and, you know, there's actually less of these things now. I mean, you don't need such high technical information anymore, but that's what's happened. And I see this, you know, now you can buy whatever you want off the internet really cheap. You can order it from China, from you know, Hong Kong or Japan, or, you know, wherever you are, and it's sort of seriously cheap. But yeah, you know, the industry is kind of flopped, and now there's some really big retailers who've got a bit of an IT section that you can buy stuff, you know. People got wise to it, and I just really hope that in the paranormal field, people just get wise to the fact that there are a lot of people out there that have cottoned on to the idea that they can make a quick buck out of vulnerable people who, you know, may not actually know an awful lot about the paranormal field and are dabbling in it, and anything with the word ghost hunting or paranormal in front of it, they will pay a stupid amount of money for, because they believe that they're getting something that's genuine, and of course they're not. And I think this is where it's going to go. I think we're on that, we're in that period of time where there are lots of rip-off artists out there making a load of money, giving the paranormal field a bad name, and they will do, because that's what happened in the IT industry. You know, because then anyone who calls themselves paranormal or ghost hunting or whatever will just be tarred with the same, oh, this is a rip-off merchant tar brush, and will suffer for the, you know, suffer for it. Apart from the people who are genuine, I think it's bad. It's bad, and I hope that it's going to end, you know, sooner than it is, because in the last couple of years I've just seen it get worse and worse and worse, and the paranormal world is just becoming full of rip-off artists and con artists, really. People who are saying that they can do these things and they don't have a clue what they're doing. Haven't got an absolute clue. But anyway, I mean, if you know, again, welcome any comments. Thank you for getting to the end of this video. Sometimes these things are a little bit of a rant, but I do get a lot more positive feedback on these kind of videos now, which is encouraging. Yeah, if you've been at the end of a rip-off, or you're aware of any sort of rip-offs or con artists, I'd be interested to know your comments. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.